What is going on, everybody? Let's talk about the energy that's going to be with us this week, which is going to be Gate 24, which is all about rationalization, rationalizing, thinking our way through problems or situations. This energy is going to be with us from April 27th through May 2nd. If you're familiar with the astrology of this gate, it is in Taurus, and in tarot, this is the judgment card. And since we're talking about reasoning, also in the I Ching, this is the return or the turning point, going back. And this energy is really about mental pressure, contemplation, thinking things over, and seeking to bring them to a closure. And in human design, this is located in the Ajna, and it goes down, connecting or towards the throat. And so the essence of the energy for the week is all about rationalizing thoughts and ideas, as we seek to understand different cycles that we go through. So you may be going through some cycles right now, or maybe you're seeing things from the past come back, because it's all about going back and looking back at our past patterns and transforming particularly mental patterns that may have held us up in the past. And so we're thinking and contemplating about things from our past this month. And one thing I've been thinking about in the past couple of days as we start this energy is opening a community, or particularly building a app. My background is engineering, and I do enjoy tinkering with apps and technology and just playing around, and want to create a community around human design for successful, but also want to create an app so I can do exactly what I want to do. So that's been on my mind this week, or going into this week, as something or a reoccurring thought that has come back, and I've been contemplating on it. And so what we want to think about, reflect, meditate on this week is, what's the origin of all of the thoughts that we're having, that we're reflecting on again? Are there any unresolved issues, patterns that are bringing these things back up? And is there a way through reasoning that we can come up with a way to maybe resolve those cycles or those patterns? And it's also a time to reflect on mental cycles, as I mentioned, but also, can we bring those cycles to a closure? There's something that we've been overthinking in the midst of going back and reviewing, checking things out. Are we overthinking this? Is there a way? Is there a way that we can put a bow on it, or bring it to a conclusion, so that we can break out of the same old cycle? So we want to explore our influence, or how we influence through our communications during these cycles. And talk things out with someone else could be helpful as we communicate our thoughts, because at times it can be difficult to take what we're thinking about and communicate it or get it out succinctly. So it may be helpful to talk through the things with someone, and acknowledge when we're overthinking or just deep into our minds and rationalizing. If you're familiar with the human design experiment, following your strategy, thinking through it, things may not work for you, right? So it may be more so you need to trust your gut, or wait a while, and see how you feel about it, versus trying to overthink and or rationalize, as we do, as humans. So, and of course, always to help with that, we want to be in our mindfulness practices, staying in the calm. Literally just left my apartment with a child who does not want to go to sleep, and it was pretty noisy, so I just went and sat in the park to calm my mind, because I do have some cycles, some things I've been thinking about as well, particularly how to do these videos and the style of social media that I like to do. I've been posting, been practicing for years, but I've never felt like it was truly comfortable in the style that I want to do. I was picking up other people's style, which for me personally, with an open head and an open ajna, I get inspiration from other people. So Nothing wrong with doing things that other people do. But then after cycles after cycle, I have to come to a decision on, I don't have to, I don't have to do anything, but I desire to come to a decision on, what's going to be my style and what can I do comfortably with, taking care of my son and taking care of the family and having everything kind of flow in how I want it. So, reasoning and stop overthinking. So, one of the things that could be in the shadow, so let's talk about the shadow, the darkness of this energy. As I mentioned earlier, a lot of overthinking, over-rationalization, and ignoring our emotions, the feelings, in favor of the logic. And we've been taught that you use your brain to make decisions. You use logic to come to a logical conclusion. It just makes sense. Use common sense. When in reality, some questions can only be answered by listening to your emotions. One thing I've been able to do over the past few years after tapping into meditation and just being a lot more silent, not overthinking, is tap into my intuition and start listening to my body more versus everything that's in my head. And a lot of times we fear what that may mean. The mind, the ego fears what it means to let go of decision making. And a lot of that leads us to analysis paralysis because the mind wants to be in charge of making a decision, but it still doesn't want to make a decision because of all the other options or the opportunity cost of making that decision, right? So in the shadow, we find where, we may have an obsession with releasing or not releasing to find our peace. And, we want to overcomplicate things instead of, a lot of times just looking for simplicity in our lives. And there can be a lot of wisdom in simplicity, particularly accepting of things don't have to be overcomplicated. And again, the mind tends to make them overcomplicated when a lot of times we can just feel our way out. And in the gene keys, this gate 64, particularly the shadow side of it, talks a lot about silence. And a lot of times we don't allow ourselves to sit in silence or even to just be not busy because the mind tends to think and the mind tends to wander. And if you're sitting with your thoughts long enough, you're going to discover some shit about yourself. And that's the thing. A lot of people don't want to discover what's going on with themselves because if they do, they might find some things that don't quite make them feel good. How about that? Right? So that's why a lot of times we ignore or we simply find ourselves lost in silence and that's a lot about the shadow of this gate is we also may use it to escapism, right? And it also talks to us about addiction, right? What addictions do we have that we may be using to escape from life, to silence the noise that we hear every day, or to drown out the noise that we hear. And like I said, a lot of stuff comes up when you're sitting with yourself in silence. Something I've been thinking about a lot recently in respect to, most people have a job or something they do to make money. And for a long time, I'm talking before the technological revolution, industrial revolution, all that, most people worked on a farm. People worked to make food and eat. Well, when you're working on the farm and you're plowing the field or you're churning the butter or doing whatever, you're not really thinking about a strategy to churn butter better, right? You're just sitting there churning the butter, plowing the field, and you have a lot of time for your thoughts. Well, today you don't really have that if you have a job, right? You go to work and you work for somebody else. You're like me, you're an engineer, you're on a computer all day, you're talking to somebody, and all the time you're on the clock, they expect you to be productive and to be contributing to the company or to your job, right? But, we miss out on a lot of time with ourselves. So imagine if you had an additional 8 hours a day where you weren't really talking to anybody. It was just you doing something that had to be done, and it was just you. You would have a lot of time to hear your thoughts, not have them be drowned out by other things. Now today, right, you could pop in your headphones and all that. You could be watching the video while you're doing the work, which a lot of people do. But for this, think about your ancestors when they were plowing the fields, working the land. They were listening to their thoughts, and so that's why I think a lot more people were more spiritually connected in the past, is because they had a lot more time to find the wisdom within themselves and also find the simplicity, or live in the simplicity of being able to just do a simple job and not have to worry about making a quota or the quarterly stock price, things like that, right? So uh, in human design, this is located in the Ajna. So this is the right below the head crown in human design, and it goes down to the throat. So when we run into this gate, when this gate appears, we want to remember to enhance our mental processing and how we're expressing that. So I talked about talking things out with people, clarifying your thoughts, and using that to achieve clarity, both mentally and spiritually. Because with this energy for this week, we're taking on things that may have been unresolved, cycles that we're continuing to go through, patterns that we want to resolve so we can get on to the next thing. And so doing that this week is going to be important. So the circuitry and the gate or strategy for this gate is balancing thoughts and processing with communication. And it's also part of the collective understanding circuit, which is all about trusting in the mental process, the maturing of that mental process and reaching that clarity, but not necessarily trying to rush that process, right? We're coming back to these things again because we haven't found the clarity, which is fine, but now is the time to get through those cycles. And so, I was thinking about building an app, and could do it, but it would take more time than I desire to give that project at the moment. And at its essence, I want to create a community that will allow people to get together, learn about human design, speak with each other in a forum chat type environment, and then it would be nice if I could have it integrated with the human design chart, right? The human design chart integration is not, that is not part of something that absolutely has to happen, and it's something that I would desire to, which is why I want to do the app. But that through mental clarity and really getting out of my head and more listening to my body and kind of where I want to go in the next couple of months, the app can wait. I can build an app at any time. And I think the most important part of everything for the next step is just get the community, get the waiting list launched, and start there and see what happens next. So community is coming soon. I'm gonna drop the sign up page. I have one made. I might just even drop it below this video. All right, so we're talking about trusting the process of mental clarity. So getting on to the next steps after thinking about building this app, right? So how we can activate this energy. So if you don't feel the energy yet this week and you want to channel it for your use, so things that you can do, things I'm going to be doing for sure, is engaging in meditation and mindful practices. I literally just sat down under a tree because everything was just really loud for me for a little bit there. So I just went and sat on a tree before coming to do this video, writing down your thoughts in your journal, and really looking at what are those patterns that I keep going over and over, and how can I transmute those? And again, talk to other people who can help you out. They can give you a new perspective on how you've been thinking about things, even maybe a different way to think about the problems or situations you're having. Right? For me, instead of building an app, another option is just to use a community app. There are tons of places you can do a community on and use that. So, that's a different perspective that I've taken into account and plan on doing soon. So, yeah, discuss your ideas with others, and if it's something that you've been dealing with and is pretty serious, right? If there's something maybe deep into your shadows, maybe you want to seek professional help to help get some mental clarity, on that. One way that I like to activate this energy is through really taking breaks, right? I need to get back to my fitness this week. I've been taking some time off to kind of think through some things, and after my tennis tournament a few weeks ago, and get back out there. So I know that when I start moving my body again, some of these ideas will clear themselves up, and I can't just sit around thinking about all day. I have to take a break and do some fun things. Even things just like taking a shower can help with the gaining the clarity around some of these things if you've been thinking about them for a while. Uh, Taking a swim, going for a walk, doing yoga, anything that's really going to take your mind off of it and get you more into your body. And a lot of times that's when we have our best ideas or the things that we're trying to solve. We get downloads when we are not thinking about it. So we'll know that we've activated our energy and it is here with us. That when we actually start to receive some of that clarity, we can remove some of that mental confusion that we've been feeling over the past couple weeks, and we stop thinking about the same things over and over and are more in tune with our creativity and more in tune with our insights on how we want to move forward in our current situation. All right. So that is gate 24, all about reasoning, rationalizing, reminding us that our thinking may not need to take place in the head all the time, that we may need to lean on our intuition, that we may want to get out of our heads and practice and release the things and the old patterns that we've been holding on to. And it's encouraging us on reflection, but also not getting too obsessed with what we think and using simplicity as a way to understand ourselves better, and ways we can activate this energy through our mindfulness practices, meditation. You can seek support from friends and family to talk things through, and they can help you resolve any lingering insights that you may have but haven't fully been able to clarify. So this week with this energy, I'm going to come to a resolution on my community, on how I've already come to a resolution after reflecting earlier today. So I will drop the link below to sign up for the beta. Other things I'm resolving this week is my content system. I built out a system to take these videos, transcribe them, and then get them uploaded to different services, and also do a few things with ChatGPT, and it's all evolved around Airtable. So I had purchased it, bought it, installed it, but it was not the right time. So again, circling back, prior to, the reasoning wasn't there for me to work on that project, but now the reasoning and the time is here. And so yeah, I'm gonna do that. So if you relate to anything that was spoken in the video, anything I said around reasoning, mental clarity, leaning on something other than your thoughts to come to a conclusion to your situation, let me know in the comments. And also, have a great day.